The goal here is to see the first 10 belts be absolutely completely full. And then the 11th belt, which is actually this one, there will be just a handful, just a few water bottles here and there. And then as soon as there's a little gap that's still filling in, but as soon as the 11th one starts getting a couple water bottles, we're basically full. This is a belt compressor. That's what we need. Where's our first one? Should be any second. There they are. Here's 2. So we're full. Okay, and if you look, there are no gaps. We're good. This works.
My name is Ken, and in this episode, we test and implement a belt compressor for our Star Wars-inspired water packaging factory. This is part 1 of episode 30, edited from VOD 30, and a link to episode 1 is in the description. What's a belt compressor, you ask? Well, I'm about to tell you, so let's get started.
Welcome to VOD 30 and Livestream 30, part 1. Today, at least the start of today, is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to walk you through some stuff that happened. We're just going to change it up a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're actually not going to load the save. So stream 29 complete. We're going to start here in a minute, okay, in a few minutes, but I need to catch you guys up with some things that have happened since the last stream. And we're going to start with packager test. Now, last stream, VOD 29, I built 2 blueprints, but I didn't really get a chance to test them. And testing them in general is difficult because of the scale of these blueprints. We're building a packager blueprint, and we're building a blueprint that condenses things down into full belts, okay? And so what I've done is I've built we have the in-game cheat mode turned on. It's not a mod, it's advanced game settings. Let's go through what I have turned on so everybody knows. This is an offshoot, a branch off of my save. It is not the main save, so that we can test these massive blueprints, because it's infinitely easier to test them and tweak the blueprints here than it is in the main save. And because it's a blueprint, it saves the blueprint, and then we can load that blueprint in the main save. Okay, here's what I have turned on. I have no build cost turned on. I have God mode turned on just because, I mean, come on. And then really flight mode. Now, please notice that no power is turned off right now, but we will be turning this on in a minute, okay? And then I've given myself many items, mostly empty canisters, but we're gonna talk about that soon. Okay, so that's what I have turned on. So, what is a belt compressor? Well, I was building a belt compressor. I just didn't know what it was. I didn't know the terminology. I didn't know the name of it. And I was kind of making it up on the fly. And that in front of us right here, that blueprint, I have one built with belts hooked up, and then next to it, I have one sitting in the designer. That is the blueprint that I was working on. And that was my attempt at a belt compressor. And what a belt compressor does, it's kind of like the opposite of a load balancer. It takes relatively balanced loads and it jams them into full belts. It overflows into full belts. And I'm going to talk about that. But first, what I want to talk about is the second blueprint that we worked on first, okay? And let's go and take a look at it. It's right here. Now, the way I've designed them to link together, it's kind of actually a little bit difficult to see exactly where one starts and the other one finishes. That's what this is our blueprint that actually packages the water. So we're testing both blueprints that we made last stream. And in part 2, we made this. And I want to show you the setup for this, okay? Basically, I just threw together 2 water extractors. I loaded them with power shards so that they pull at 300. And then there's 2 of them, and boom, 600. Now here's the key right here. Testing this, basically I had to make a bunch of empty canisters, and then this is 25 minutes worth. So once we turn on the tester, then we have 25 minutes worth, and there's one for each of these. Okay, all the way down the line. I have 14 of these setups. This represents roughly 25%. This is one train station's worth of blueprints, okay, over at the base, okay? We can see the tower over there. That's what this represents, roughly 25% of the factory, okay? So that's how this works. You'll notice there's no power here because when I want to turn it on, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the advanced game settings and I'm gonna turn on no power. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna flip all of this on at the same time. And the reason that we need that, oh, before I get to that, basically I tested this blueprint and for once, shockingly, there were no problems. There wasn't anything I needed to tweak in this blueprint at all. Everything was good to go. It all seems to work perfectly. So this blueprint works and I didn't have to tweak him, okay? So that's where we're at here. Now, this blueprint, okay? So we know this works and we have to use this blueprint to test this blueprint. And here's why we need a belt compressor, okay? Because each of these blueprints creates, we get out of this output 580 packaged water per minute. But what we need is on this side, we need each belt to go into our train station, maximum full 780 loaded belt. And so that's what this belt compressor does. It takes our 580 belts, okay, these belts through here, and then we have fewer on the back side, but they're loaded with 780. And I mean like no mistakes, there's no holes, it is loaded, okay? Because we don't want anything but a perfectly full belt. Now, I designed this about, a quarter of the way through the last stream, and I didn't really know what I was building. And shocker, somebody smarter than me has already figured this out. I knew in the back of my mind, I even mentioned it, but I still was too damn stubborn and I wasn't gonna quit. Now, last night, I loaded this up and I was gonna test it. And I did test it and I tweaked it for 4 or 5 hours. I got it all working. If we turn this on, it works. It works, but I wasn't super happy with it. And then, so I work on that. I stayed up way too late. I got about 4 hours of sleep. I wake up, I'm checking my Discord, and Zazu, X-A-Z-U, in my Discord links a article about a belt compressor. And I look at it and I go, holy crap, that's what I need. That's what I needed to do. Let's take a look at it. Here we go. Now, this is an article in the Satisfactory wiki. This is about a balancer. A lot of us know what load balancers are. There's a lot of videos out there on them. I knew what I was building wasn't a load balancer, but I didn't know what it was. And it is actually a belt compressor. This is a belt compressor. That's what we need. Okay, sometimes it is useful to compress N number of belts into M number of full belts, with the last belt carrying the remainder. This can be applicable to, shocker, mega factories. That's what we need. Now, here's the diagram. Here's the money shot, okay? I'm gonna walk through this. It's really important, okay? Don't let it overwhelm you. We're gonna step through this, and then I'm gonna show you what I did in the game using this, okay? Basically, this basic block here in the upper corner, this is the magic. And what happens is you have some amount on A, some amount in B, and then out comes the full maximized belt, and whatever's left over between them, it gets kicked down the line, okay? These O's are smart splitters with overflow. The dotted line is the overflow, and the M's are mergers, okay? And this is it. 2 smart splitters, 2 mergers, and you're good. Basically, 1 for each belt. You get a double for the first one, but then there's 1 for each belt. Now, example A and example B, here's where the trick is. It matters how much you're putting in, because the first time I tried to build this earlier today, I didn't understand that you can't just chain them infinitely. You run out. And what you have to do is you have to insert, and it's right here, an example B, you have to insert a bonus amount. This number 20, that's how much is left over, because you put 400 and 400 in, 780 comes out, 20's left over, okay? So we can't just add 400 once. We can't add this 400. We actually have to add a 400 before, okay, to get it to 420, and then we add another 400 to get us 780. If we don't add this first 400, then we'll only have 420 coming out of here, and I made that mistake. And so there isn't sort of a universal blueprint for belt compressing whatever amount you want to put in. It is based on the amount that's put in, because you know, how many of these basic blocks do you put in a row before you add the extra line, okay? In this example, you know, this is 3, okay? 3 basic blocks, 1, 2, 3, before the extra line gets moved in, because after 3, it's down to 60. In this case, it was only after 1, it was down to 20. In our case, it just happens to be 580 is actually 2. We needed 2 basic blocks before we add our extra bonus in, okay? So this is how this works. Now we're gonna head into the game, back to the game. Now, this morning, because Zazu gave me that article and I read that article, I realized I didn't wanna use this. This is garbage. It's not garbage, it's just not what I wanna use. And so I basically redesigned the entire thing this afternoon. I spent another 6 hours figuring it out. So let's head over to the next save that I have prepared. Packager test 2 start. And this is the one where I put together our piece, and I'm gonna walk you through it. I'm really, really glad I did this off stream, because like I said, I basically spent, I don't know, 10, 12 hours on it. That's more than an entire stream. And in this way, we'll get to take 20, 30 minutes. I'll walk you through the process. You guys don't have to see how many times I screwed up and had to fix it over and over and over again. I would find a problem, fix the problem, that would reveal another problem, so on and so forth. Okay, so now we're back in. Now what this represents, this whole thing, this is kind of like my test bench. Okay, we're all ready and set to test, okay? And we will, but the first thing I'm gonna do is show you how I built what I built, and then we'll test it, okay? And I'll show it working. So first thing I built is this guy, okay? And he works, okay? We have 1 input here, and 1 input here. I'm not gonna flip back and forth a million times, but this is the basic block, okay? I needed to build a basic block. Input, input, and then we have 2 inputs, and then we have a full belt, and then we have a remainder. 2 overflows and 2 mergers, okay? Here's our overflows, and here's our mergers, okay? And then on the back side, and I labeled them, we have the full belt, and we have the overflow, or the remainder, okay? And this works. He works. The problem is that his shape, it doesn't, is very inefficient in this blueprint for what I wanted. Okay, so he was my first draft. So my second draft, to try to make the same thing in a more condensed way, is this bad boy. Now there's some clipping, okay, but he's nice and tightly condensed. He looks good. So here's our 2 inputs, much closer together, okay? I mean, this bad boy fits in a 4x4, right? And then here's the full, and then here's the overflow, okay? And basically, this connects to that. They're like an X pattern, okay? This one connects to that one connects to that one, all right? And then I have this one in here because when I was building, in some cases, I needed to merge inside here. But I actually ended up changing that, I think, and I didn't update it here. So I think that actually that's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. This is the boy, okay? So he is the module, okay? I'm actually gonna save that. Now, the first step that I had needed to do is I built 1 floor, okay? So this, I had to build 1 floor first. Okay, now we're gonna walk through this. All right, and basically, let's take the roof off. Basically, it's a bunch of modules, okay? And it looks really complicated, and it is, but It's just the modules, okay? You can see them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then actually, yeah, 4. 4, and then there is kind of another one here. And what this does is we have on the front, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, nothing here, 6, 7 inputs. And this is built for 580 or roughly 580 going in. And then out the back end, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 full belts. Okay. And then the remainder actually comes across here and then goes up to the second floor. Okay. And you'll see, and this goes in right underneath this one. So if we built, and I do, this floor again on top of the first floor, then all I have to do is connect him into there, and it starts the whole sort of process over again. So this is kind of the start over, okay? So that we can go up to the next floor. But I mean, this is basically, you know, the first full one comes out, and then this one here, this overflow, right? He's the remainder, and then he is the first input on the next one, right? And then the second input on the next one is the next belt, right? And you just keep going. And you just daisy chain them, and I just daisy chained them together. Now, there's more moving parts, right? It's more complicated than just that. There's some things that you gotta kind of deal with, but that's the setup, okay? And I got this working, I tested it, and it was working, and then basically I just did this 3 times. And here is belt compression, 3 floor, 580. Load it. Okay, and all this really is what I just showed you times 3, okay? And 18 inputs. Okay, so this one actually does 18 inputs. Here's our 18 in, and then here's our outs. And basically this is the remainder, right? The remainder hole, because I could build a 4th floor if I need to. I don't need to for this, but I could. And here's our outs. What is that, 15? Yeah, 15 outs, and these will be full belts, okay? So I'm gonna show you guys how to test this bad boy. Okay, so here's our spot. Now we gotta hook up our inputs and our outputs, and then I'm gonna show you guys how this thing works. And I hooked these inputs and outputs up, I don't know, I feel like 100 times. I'm sure it wasn't that much, but it feels like it. But it let me sort of perfect this process, sort of my test bench process. Okay, so those are all hooked in. Those each come from their own blueprint, each line. Now this one is special. Let's look at a little math here, okay? So we need 10 times 780, right? That's the total amount that we need. We need 7,800, okay? But we're doing them in 580 chunks. So we need 13 and a half belts worth of 580 belts, okay? And so these bottom 2 rows are the 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, this guy, he's the half. Okay, if we follow him back all the way down, some of these are switched off. Okay, this is only halfway turned on. Okay, I think these top 4 are turned off, and one of those is turned down or something. But he's not running at full 580. Is my point. In the real world, in our save, what we'll do is I'll probably just run a full one in there, just because. Or maybe I'll take one and I'll split it in half between 2 of these. I haven't decided, but this is our extra, basically. Okay, I think. Oh, I gotta do the outputs. Let me do the outputs, and then I'm gonna read some chat. Make sure I'm caught up, and then we're gonna turn this thing on. So the reason that these have to be turned off is because we only need 580 coming out of here, and we need to test it with 580 coming out of here. But I can't wait for this to, these are all preloaded. See these empty canisters? These are already ready to go. We don't need any spin up time because of manifolding. And I also needed 0 packaged water to be built up in here because I don't want these to be coming through with 780 temporarily. I want them to immediately turn on and not give me less than 580 because they have to spin up because of a manifold. And I can't have more than 580 because they've stored up extra water bottles, right? They need to be exactly 580, and they are in this setup. Okay, now let's test this bad boy. And to test it, we go and notice there's no power to any of this, okay? But now there is. I've just turned them all on. And here comes our packaged water. All right, now it doesn't take long, only about a minute, and these start overflowing correctly. The goal here is to see the first 10 belts be absolutely completely full. And then the 11th belt, which is actually this one, I have a 12th here, just in case, but the 11th belt is actually this one. There will be just a handful, just a few water bottles here and there. See, we're already full. And then as soon as there's a little gap that's still filling in, but as soon as the 11th one starts getting a couple water bottles, we're basically full. Where's our first one? Should be any second. There they are. Here's 2. So we're full. We're loaded. Okay, and if you look, there are no gaps. And I looked at this for like 20 minutes and we're good. This works, okay? So these 14 work, this works. And this is what we need for our factory. Again, this took 6 hours to get right, but I think it's right. And this is the proof. And I had no idea how I was gonna test this at this scale, but now I can be confident, or at least as confident as I possibly can be, when building our factory, that we're not gonna have to screw around for hours and hours and hours trying to get it to work because we've bench tested the parts first, okay? And that's it. So this is how this works. I am probably gonna leave this open and kind of unfinished looking. We're just gonna start actually building what we need to build in the actual save. Now, we do have, I think, a small bit of bad news here, and that is, this is our area for our belt management. The 10 belts that came out of that compressor go in here. Either the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. Only one, not double. Okay, there's 10 ends on this row. All right, and those ends head downstairs and go into the train stations, right? So this is all prep to get these loaded onto the trains. Now, like I said, the bad news is that I couldn't make it. I had to make it taller than. Now, how screwed are we? Okay, good. Okay, so luckily I put in this second floor and I was gonna use it to move belts around, but we're gonna have to open up a hole in it in order to fill this. But luckily we still have space between the top of this and our actual factory floor. So that's actually really good news. I think we're just gonna put in probably all 4 of them. Let's see if I can afford them. I don't have infinite resources now, so let's grab what we need. I tell you what, doing that in cheat mode, testing blueprints, especially at a large scale like that, saved me countless hours. Okay, so this should be the center, or pretty close to the center, and I like it. Okay, bring it out a little bit further. And let's place this bad boy. Okay, so he's on center. Put him right here. How are we doing here? I feel like we're gonna run out of space. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Let's line this up again. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be a tight fit. I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna necessarily work. I probably should have started on this end and built down. Ugh. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. Let's make a hole. I tried to make it all like perfectly centered and the universe just works against me. So how, yeah. There we go. All right, so that's as tight as we can make him. Giggity. And then we're just gonna line these up, or at least one at a time until we get back on track. How can we get back on the right track? Wow, I was not close at all. And then delete this one. Yeah, I mean, I think this is our freaking bank of, it looks like it's kind of like all one, doesn't it? We'll eventually put some walls here. Yeah, okay, cool. We're gonna hook these belts up. We're gonna hook them up. Remember, we're working backwards, okay? We've got the trains. Okay, we've got the placement for the trains, and then we did these logistics last time, and then we did these boxes, and now we did these, and we're gonna hook them up. Okay, so we are gonna do that today. How are we gonna do these belts? Probably just something simple like on the ground. Yeah, I think something simple on the ground. Oh, where did I break that line? I broke it here. So, oh, I'm out of all-clad aluminum sheets. Crap, now I gotta do that like 4 more times. Let's make sure this works and we're happy with this one before I do those 4. Oh my God, look at that. It's a Christmas miracle. I wonder if there's a better way to do this. There is. I've just decided. Sorry. Let's do something like this. I like this. I don't know if I like this. Wow, that lined up perfectly. Too bad that the rest of these won't. But yeah, I mean, I think I like that. That's a little funky, but I think it works. I can deal with it. I like this. This works. That's a little funky town, but to be honest with you, I'm not gonna stress that too much. The only other way that we could really do it was what I did first, was like this. We like that better? No, that looks worse. All right. I'm gonna leave it for now. Maybe we'll come up with something later. But for now, this will look kind of cool with the water bottles streaming out. You could have a platform at the height where it would just be across over flat and ramp down. Yeah. Oh, so I could do the wiggle straight. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's a good idea. Shit. And then I could even just delete the platform if I mean, I think this is what you're saying. If it's not, then I'll give you the credit anyway, because it made me think of it. So just do the wiggle immediately. And this actually works also down there, because it won't be the same. I wanted them to be the same, but we ran out of space, and so we just had to jam them together. I just hit filter the conveyor pole. There we go. Oh. Guess that makes sense. Of course it's 1. It's off by 1. In fact, toward that end, I'm gonna do this. Because this is going to be really cool looking, and I want to maximize the how satisfying and how awesome all of these blue water bottles off of full belts, cascading off of these blueprints, are going to look. So that's so much better. And then if we wanted to, we could do something like, I don't know if we will, but either way, that's way better. Way better. This is gonna look so cool. There's just something about when you start putting this stuff at scale, this many belts at this speed, and they're all perfectly full, it looks so cool, right? And it's really hard to get that kind of aesthetic just building normal sized things. I'm out one here and then bring it over. And then I'm gonna keep the whole every other one thing going. I like that a lot. And then I'll sneak the top ones in every other one. All right, I think though the jig is up. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna commit to hiding these. All right, so I'm gonna, instead of making this part look half okay and then the outside look half okay, I'm gonna make the outside look really good and this inside is gonna look like garbage. So I'm not gonna, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna be clipping and it's gonna look gross, but I'm gonna build a little organizing box container, okay? All right, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do it in one. Did that go in right there? Is there any chance we can do it in half? Oh my God, we're gonna maybe do it in half. This one won't work though, I bet. Oh my God, it works. Nice. Yeah, I guess this works, right? Because it just needs enough time. Yeah, okay. It doesn't matter how far. Am I missing one still? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Apparently I can't count. I don't understand. I'm gonna build them so I can see what's happening. Why is this so hard? I can't count to 2. Oh. That's why. I forgot the one on the end isn't for him. It's for the top. Okay, cool. All right, sorry. That match? It does. Okay, this is the ticket, boys. This is what we're doing. Oh my God, so many belts. This is gonna look so cool. All right. And then if we hit G, just do conveyor poles. Delete all the conveyor poles. All right, now. Okay, cool. We are 75% of the way done with this hookup. And it's gonna look sick. Okay, cool. Let's do it. It's funny, a lot of times this stuff seems like it will take forever, but then you just work at it and comes together pretty quick. At least it comes together faster than maybe I was expecting. But usually you don't really need load balancers for much. It's really train stations. Train stations really cause the need. I mean, that's why I need these. Train stations really cause the need for the extra special. But I just use manifolds myself for almost everything. I only use this kind of stuff when it's absolutely necessary. Next is we need to get our belts hooked into here. Okay, and really to do that, I'm just trying to figure out how we're gonna make this work. But probably like that and like that. Okay. And then we'll just basically set all these up. Okay, cool. Now we put all these in. Okay, cool. There they all are. And now we just have to bring them down into this floor and hook them up. So now it's time to build these bad boys. So we're gonna build 14 times 4 of these. Well, of these, that's the blueprint. 14 times 4 of these. And I want each of the 14 on its own power switch so that we can turn it off all by its, like, on its own. It's a separate power switch. And I actually put those in already. Started them. They're right here. This is our control room. And they need to be hooked into chunks of 14. And then the 14 that we hook together has to belt together into one of those setups that we did. Okay, and that way we can turn off a train station with the flip of a switch. Okay? Okay, yes, so what does that mean? Well, that means that we need to pick out our chunks of 14. We need to build all of them. And then we need to pick out our chunks of 14 and we need to label them so that we know which ones go together. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. Did I sign these? I did. Look at that. They're signed and ready to go. So I think I'll do letters for the train stations, A, B, C, D, and then numbers for, you know, so A 1 through 14, basically. I think that's what we're gonna do. Now, can we fit 2 digits on there? Let's try to think ahead. Does that look good? It looks great. So we're gonna do A1 and we're gonna copy. And yeah, we're just gonna do this because it sucks. It's time consuming, but to be honest with you, we do this now and it will save so much more time in the long run. I don't know if we're gonna finish this tonight, but we are gonna get a shocking amount done. Like we are cruising. If I can hit the right letter or number. Let's hook up the power. Let's run the power out here. And that was the marker for the middle, which I guess we can keep. Let's run power. All right, where do we hook in the power? We hook it in right here. We do better than that. I think we can. One more, 2 maybe? Oh, nipple sticks up. That's actually... That actually kind of looks better than it just coming out of the ground. Wow, that's kind of accidental. I may use that a lot more often. That looks pretty good. Kind of like that. All right, we can close this up. All right, let's hook up this power. All right, and then let's install the nipple. This is why also you always want to use what Darren has another reason why he always uses 2-meter foundations. It's so that you can, if you want to, make the top meter different from the bottom meter. Like you could make you'd replace this with 2 1 meters and then make them different materials and colors. So that's his reasoning, and I think that's a good reason. I don't really do that, but you definitely, somebody might. The reason I like to make them 2 meters is because it fully hides the wire when you run power this way. If I was in the 1 meter, this wire would just dip down just barely where you could see it, and it's super ugly and irritating. But if your flooring is 2 meter foundations, then you don't have to worry about that. 100% hidden. Well, except for the nipple. Watch my video get like demonetized because I say the word nipple too much. I think that's a safe word though. I mean, it's not a safe word. I mean, I guess it could be. I mean, I'm not gonna judge. That's your safe word. Sorry, this conversation took a turn. Are we done? Is that all 14 hooked up? It's gonna go really fast. I hope I didn't miss any. Guess we'll find out sometime. Okay. Yeah, power's done, and we're labeled. What's next? You know what I want to do? I want to put in my stairs. Okay. What's next? Well, what's next is very dark in here. We have our inputs down here waiting. And we have 14 built. And this is going to be A. This one in the back. Okay. And there's the 14. So let's hook them up. Turn on the light, it's getting dark. All right, where's the outputs? Well, the outputs are right here. So we're just gonna classic floor hole. Floor hole the outputs. Oh, I'm backwards. Okay, this is not the output. That's the input for the... Right? Yes. Yep, we gotta do it off the back. There we go, 580. That's right. So this is what we want. All right. Let's knock out these other ones. And then we're gonna build the next 14 over here. And then we're gonna build what we can here and here. Maybe we can get the next 14 across both of these. And then we're gonna go up and we're gonna put a tiny logistics floor in between this floor and the next floor. And they're gonna build the remainder of what doesn't fit on this floor. And I think we can get that all done tonight. I'd like to get all of our packagers in tonight. Good old ceiling belts. It's like a staple of my playthrough. I've used more ceiling belts than any other 2 players. Not true. I was modifying a quote from the movie Signs when he's making fun of Joaquin Phoenix's character. He has more strikeouts than any 2 players. Yeah, it was there, and then that one was there, and then that one's there. We're gonna have barely enough room. Maybe we go all the way down with the first one, and then there, and then all the way down. Nope. All the way down. Oh my god, why does it keep doing that? Where are the rest of our pipes coming in? I think let's go to the ground. These. we still need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're done with this row. And I think all 5 are actually over here. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. What's happening? Did I miss one? We need to figure out where my missing hole is. I'm always losing holes. Ironic, because I have 5 kids. All right. These. That's the end. Here's my last 2 holes, right there. I thought that was the end. That's not the end. Okay. Found them. Come on, fat finger. There we go. Here's our last 2 holes. That actually makes me more nervous because now I have an extra hole. I went from not having enough holes to having too many, which some might say is worse. Crap. Oh, we don't need this one. Okay, we're good. Sorry. Yeah, he's a blank. I should have. I was gonna do it now. It's not part of the blueprint. I'm tired of. I don't want that to keep happening, and I will. I'm gonna fix that really quickly because I'm dumb. There we go. No hole. No thank you. No entry. Okay, we fixed our hole problem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, no, we didn't. Okay, 6. There it is. Okay, here's the 6. You know what I need? I need a little marker of some kind. How about a little baby sign? A little beba sign. Yeah, let's. I need to know where these start and stop. He's number 2. And then number 1 is right here. It's really where they start. So I know where the boundaries are. Okay. That's enough signs. Almost. I just didn't line the damn thing up. Okay, I already like this way better. There we go. Ooh, look at that. Look at that little guy. Oh, look at that little baby. So that was a nightmare, but actually it wasn't that bad once we figured out a method. These other ones will be super easy. It's just that double. That double one was, oh, well, you know. Is that right? Yes. Green line, you saved me. Sometimes that green line is not reliable. Okay, those are in. That's another step done, guys. That is another step done. Let's handle something that I haven't really thought too much about. we need to deal with the packagers. These have got to go all the way down and across. I do not think that our packages, empty packages, need anything special. Really irritating me to have to turn that around every time. So I'm just gonna do this so I don't have to turn that around. Do all the ones facing the same side. Okay, those floor holes are in. Let's see what we got to work with here. I think, oh yeah, good job, Kin. Real slick. Oh well, run it underfloor. That is very solidly in our dang. We'll have to come up. So we're gonna have to do some sort of interesting splitter into merger thing with this. Like alternating splitters and mergers. I don't know, is that the best way to do this? It's not the worst way to do this. So I guess that's something. What if we let our water bottles shine and we just we just do this? What if we just do this? I think I want to just do this, and then that way it's easier, right? But it also lets me deal with them individually, and it lets us really see the. All right, let's make a hole. All right, here's our 10. And basically we just have to kind of just feed them in.
I am really glad those belt compressors are tested and installed, and I'm really looking forward to the cascading water bottles and how they look off of those belts. Well, that's it for episode 30, part 1. And in part 2, we're going to continue building out the factory and hooking up belt logistics. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you could give this video a like, it would be really great. And I really appreciate all your guys' support for every video. That's it for now. Until next time.